Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll Podcast. My name is Ryan, and joining me today is the wonderful Will Jobst. How are you doing today, Will?
Hey, I'm so glad to be here, and I have like a big reveal that I have been saving, but I just want to show you that we're wearing the same clothes right now.
Oh shit, we
We're
are wearing the same shirt.
wearing the same
Is
dark
that-
wizard.
Is that why you turned your camera off every time you stood up so that I couldn't
Yes.
see that you were in the same shirt?
Exactly.
That's funny. Because you turned it off because I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick, camera off. I was like, okay, that works.
Okay.
That's funny. Yeah. I didn't even
What's-
notice across the top.
Yeah, I thought a couple times, and then we both got the smartwatch on. We're matching today. Okay,
We're getting there. I just got to throw on a hat and we're chilling. Yeah,
Yeah.
for the last hour plus that I've been fucking with audio issues, the most I've ever had before a stream ever, I somehow in my rage did not notice that we were wearing the exact same shirt. But
yeah, shout out World Champ Game Co. Adam Vass.
Ooh.
Shout out Dark Wizard. While on the call, I bought the new Dark Wizard poster, which you can find at the is it a Redbubble? Is it a what's the store called? Let me find it really quick. But he did a new like One Piece tattoo poster just of all the One Piece characters, and I got it today. So yeah,
you're a One Piece. You're one of those.
I'm one of those. I mean, converted by the best, Tyler Crumrine of tabletop world, but Dark Wizard also did like a Warhammer collection too, in like American traditional tattoo style. I'll send you a picture.
Okay,
to show it.
Now you got me. One Piece, I'm like, man, but like when you said Warhammer, I'm on it. But okay, so Will Jobst, for those who may not know who the heck you are, who the heck is Will Jobst?
I'm a tabletop designer, publisher, writer. I'm one half of Good Luck Press with Seb Pines. You might be familiar with my recent games like This Discord Has Ghosts in It, Black Mass, and the forthcoming Plasmodics, Mutant Freaks in the Weird Future. I've edited lots and lots of games. Most recently, I provided... yeah, there's a huge stack. Fuck yeah. Most recently, I provided a couple comments in the Neopets alpha that's on Google Docs right now. So just to date this recording right now, that was like yesterday.
And it makes me happy. And it's so, I love that everyone is just dog on it so bad. They're like, how are we using 5e, which at its core is just a combat simulator for Neopets of all things.
We indie tabletop social media kind of needed this as a family. Like we needed this moment, so this is good.
Just everyone finally like on the same page about one thing briefly.
We can kind of blast off on this one. This is okay. But yeah, I think I like my design sensibilities kind of embody kind of the Weekly Scroll vibe of like being as widely played as possible and not like looking for inspirations, not just in only indie TTRPGs, but like far afield with solo games, board games, war games, skirmish games, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we've said this forever on the show. We are an Adam Vass Stan podcast, but you can't really be an Adam Vass fan without knowing and also loving Will Jobst. With the Brain Trust, half the stuff up there that is Adam is also you. And it's shocking that we are 304 episodes in, and this is the first time you're coming on the show.
I know. I'm so glad we got to hang out at PAX U a bunch, and that was really great. And yeah, we just clicked so hard. It was like, this doesn't make sense. I've been on what the hell? But yeah, huge. I'm a huge Adam Vass fan. Day one. I got oh my God, I'm going to forget the name of the game. The first Adam Vass thing I got was Deals with Demons. Do you know this? It was like it was a collection of red envelopes that you can use for your TTRPG.
That was actually before me. He's talked to me about those, and it's like one of the only things, because I have more World Champ than he does. And it's one of the things I don't have from him, actually.
The archive. Well, I'll have to find mine and send it to you so you have like the complete archive. But yeah, you can whenever a player dies or experiences like some kind of horrific event, you give the player one of these little deals that's in a red envelope, and they open it and they decide what to do. And I saw that and I was like, I'm gonna make Adam my friend. That's how it's gonna go. And so we met at a zine meetup at Gen Con in like 2017 or something like that. Kind of before the kind of zine, it's just heavy, the kind of zine vibe. Happy Zine Quest, by the way, everybody. But yeah, we
Yay.
brought
We
backpacks of zines and traded Adam, Shellcon, and I, and that's where it started.
that's awesome. We talked yesterday. We have an episode that'll come out on Monday where we briefly go over Zenuary is what we decided to call it because it should be fucking Zenetopia, Zine Quest, Zine Month, Zemo, all the shit. We're like it's
Month, yeah.
Zenuary. That is it for us from now on. Is Zenuary.
Also, shout out Adam. I'm drinking a Gator Bowl right now. It looks like wastewater. It's awesome.
The PAX Gator Bowl crowd was ridiculous. No, my first thing from Adam. It's funny that we're having you on the show and then immediately talk about Adam. I can't. Fuck. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It was a collection of small games. There was like 2 zines on Kickstarter that I was just like, this cover looks cool.
And the other one.
Wish You Were Here and the other one.
Yeah. What was the other one? And that's where we like first worked together. I worked on one of our shared loves is the show Lost, and so Adam has a game called 8:15 that's about the flight hitting the island, and there was another one called Time Capsule with a Demon Inside, which is really special like postcard game Adam made, and then we worked together to kind of flesh it out to be a bit longer. But yeah, Adam Vass, what an artist.
What a guy. What a pal.
What a beast.
Gonna see him very soon. So he's, leaving to go on tour for a month in Europe because the bastard can't just be good at tabletop games. He also has to be a bass player for one of my favorite bands.
My friend who's a rock star. Yeah.
Yeah. Just happens to also, make some of the best games in the TTRPG space. We're gonna get to see each other at Adepticon. You should go out to Adepticon.
Where is it?
It's fucking Milwaukee.
Okay.
I want to say Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
It's on my list because I know Adam's going. I know you're going. I know Witty goes too. It's like it just would be cool to go hang out. All the war games and skirmish DIY heads are so nice. It's out of control.
Yeah.
But I'm like taking a step back from cons this year because I did like 4 or 5 last year that included a lot of travel, and it actually affected me mentally and physically. Did you know that? Did you know that this could happen?
I mean, you seemed great at PAX, but obviously, like the time, it's different too, though. Like, I mean, I worked PAX, I guess, but really, I just stood around talking about some of my favorite games for like 3 days. So, like, it didn't feel like
you're
work,
really good at it. So you're really good at selling games in general, and it can. PAX is great because it's like 3 days and you're out. But the month before I did Game Hole, which was you don't gotta do
story. Yeah, you discussed Game Hole. It sounded great. You gotta go next year,
So great.
Yeah. But it's funny because I'm doing the exact opposite. I only did Adepticon and PAX last year, so this year I'm going to like 4 or 5 different things. Like I'm hitting Adepticon, I'm going to go to Under the Dice, I'm going to go to PAX, I'm going to go to the Between the Cairns Con, between
I was
going to
ask. That's one I like really want to go to, and it's just a little bit too far in Portland. Yeah, I was like pricing out flights. I was like, I really want to go to this. This would be really cool.
Well, it's funny because that one's actually the only one that's close to me because I live in Northern California. So, and Hunter lives in Oregon.
Oh, shit.
So it's like the closest one I'm gonna get. So every time I go to PAX is exactly how I have to go from Northern California to Philadelphia at the end of every year. And yeah, it's planes get expensive once you cross like the middle of the country, you know.
It's it's stupid.
But it's it is, and then I've flown with Southwest forever, and now they're getting rid of their entire business model for no reason whatsoever.
That's an
Uh,
economic indicator, I think. That is
yeah.
a empire in collapse moment that's lost after like 45 years.
Well, apparently someone bought in a big chunk of the company enough to be able to make decisions, and that's what happened. I guess it's they're like, all right, we snatched up a bunch of the stock. We're gonna start making decisions, and the decision was, let's striate and pay more, for the things that you fucking want. What I would anyway. I don't. Well, anyway, Will Jobst. So we talked about some of your stuff. Games that how many games have we reviewed on the show? Is it just one? Have we only done Torque?
I think Torque. It wouldn't surprise me if you talked about some things I've done with like if Campfire, perhaps, but
Yeah, I
Torque.
think Torque, the widest PDF in existence.
Yes, it's double wide because I use those like Arctic glasses that are only a thin
line, so you can cut out all the hallucinations from the snow, so you can see the Torque PDF.
I'm helping you by formatting it like that.
Because it's already a sideways A5, basically the same shape as Cybermetal, and then the only PDF available is in spreads, which just means that the entire PDF is this wide.
It's long style, yeah. It's like a zooscope. Are those what those called? That when you like have two binoculars on something and you're like sliding a piece of paper around. Zoetrope. That's what it's a zoetrope.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm just making zoetropes over here. But yeah, that's a game that's like half minimalist, like tactics, road rage game, and then half like freeform role playing set in like a post-apocalyptic weird future kind of thing where you play drivers who apply their trade in communities and trying to survive on the way there.
Have you ever peeped Gaslands from Mike Hutchinson?
Yeah, Gaslands is sick. I haven't played it, but I did like a big survey of all of the kind of car tactics games, and that one was just so pretty, and I loved the models that I saw people make for it.
It's cool because I saw Torque well before I got into Skirmish. So as soon as I saw Gaslands, I was like, oh, that's just Torque with more steps. That's what's happening right there.
I love the like because they have a couple placemat things, including like a throttle meter deal, which is very sick. That would be, and that was originally a Zine Quest project. This is one of my specialties, which is kickstarting a zine and then making it over 100 pages impossible to be a zine, and it takes 2 times as long to fulfill at least. And just gonna I'm not allowed anymore. I'm not allowed to do it.
And you and Adam love those like cloth mats, the play mats. Because I have the Torque one. I'll just fucking grab it. These things, you guys love these. So this is the one I have of yours. This is the Torque mat, which is great. Yeah. But Adam has about 18 of these in his games, all made up from like, got like literally half those back there have one of these in them.
Yeah, there's Cobwebs has one. We did one for Campfire, which is like an anthology horror storytelling game. We did one for A Guide to Casting Phantoms in the Revolution. That's like a big ass pentagram, and you play inside the pentagram.
Was there one for Snow?
Oh,
I feel like there is one for Snow. I feel like you play on the mat. It's a mat or a fold out paper or something because you do play on it.
Yeah, I like having a play space that's specific. It helps kind of hypnotize people at the table.
Yeah. I mean, I think it helps really bring focus in. Like, I've never been a person who does theater of the mind. Like, it's fine. But even when people play, there's times where we've been on stream and we've done a little bit more theater of the mind stuff. I'll pull out a Post-it note and draw maps on it in my head because I have the worst sense of direction ever. But it's like, so there's a door in the front and there's a door in the back, and then we went this way, and I have to, at least do a little doodle or something to figure it out. So when I always GM anything, I always have physical stuff.
Yeah, I was just running a dungeon last night from Valley of Flowers in my Mythic Bastionland campaign, and it's a group that we normally play story games with. We've started to play more hex crawls and adventure games, and in this one, I found that they weren't exploring enough. And so one of the solutions was like, I'm going to screenshot the maps and show you all the doors you're not going in instead of like describing that you're not going. Like something's happening where I know if you were in a video game, you would be exhaustively searching this area.
Did it make a difference?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
huge difference. They checked it out. They were like, "Oh, there's a door here," and it helps as like a game runner to have players help you, remind you of the different exits that there are instead of trying to like scan the description of the room, uh, describe, you know. Are you going to describe doors? Are you not going to describe doors? That's a big moment in every GM's life.
Yeah. It's like I said, I like having play mats. I like having battle maps. Like back when I was actually running 5e a long time ago, I even had the whole like TV laid flat into a frame kind of thing, so I could have like
sick.
video stuff.
Yeah.
And I bought the things where you could have like levels. So we did one battle in like a treehouse. So I pulled out all these like stands that were all different
Oh, that's
things, and then
awesome.
people were like, "Are we going to use like what is a squared plus b squared times c squared? Are we going to use Pythagorean theorem for like the distances and stuff?" And I'm like, "No, fuck that. Like 8 inches, like 8 inches is 8 inches. Like I'm not worried about the diagonals of things." But yeah, like I said, I prefer that, and you know, skirmish really helps with that because you
Yeah.
don't really do skirmish theater of the mind stuff. So having the play space, I think you and Adam like set me up to lead into skirmish eventually with like the play mats and like all the physical DIY stuff and everything. But before we dig into that, because I'm sure we'll go around to that, let's take it all the way back. So when were you born? No, so what got you into TTRPGs kind of in the beginning? Like how did we get here?
Yeah, I started experimenting in college.
As we all do. Yeah.
Okay. And I had like known in the back of my mind about TTRPGs, Dungeons and Dragons, and etc. I actually played like Hero Quest as a child, and I have this very strong memory of like getting ganked in a doorway by like a minotaur, which I think is a classic Hero Quest moment. But I puzzled out the rules to, at that time, fourth edition. I just turned 33, so do the math. Fourth edition was out.
just just a baby. Look at you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm, you know, I've been telling everybody I'm like Christ's age when it all popped off. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm looking for. My year of miracles.
When it all popped off, that's
When it all
an
got
interesting way.
serious for a little guy
Yeah.
named JC. But I got interested in tabletop from reading like Reddit posts of play reports. And there was like an Earwolf podcast with like Brian Posehn and a lot of other alt comedians where they played. And so I got really interested in like the GMing optimization part of tabletop RPGs, going so far as to like releasing blogs and doing articles for like Gnome Stew, all about, here's how you like can bring improv techniques into tabletop. So I play with the same group that I started with in college, like to this day. That's the group that wouldn't go in the other rooms in this castle. But I basically, you're the same way where you're interested in DIY, outsider art, interesting, cool sicko shit. I was this way with music, with movies, and so it was easy to graduate from. Not that you need to graduate, not making a moral judgment. Maybe I am, but from moving from the Hasbro D&D experience to more bespoke, strange, interesting, compelling RPGs. Yeah, that was the start.
Yeah, interesting, strange. I mean, you guys, we talked about Adam. Well, okay, so then Adam Vass existed, and how did you guys get to start making a podcast and making the sicko weirdo shit?
There's gonna be a lot of wincing in this story, so I just have to.
Just
We
warn us.
we did a Kickstarter together for the Break Kickstarter project that was like a themed monthly event for Kickstarter. You might know this thing called Zine Quest, where people make these small magazines. or things like Pocketopia, where you make something can fit in a pocket. This was like a one-off that they never did again, where you break the rules of Kickstarter somehow to make an interesting campaign. And so our Break Kickstarter campaign, that we then later referred to, how can you break Kickstarter if you're not willing to break yourself? We would we ran the campaign for a game we did not know we were going to make. And each week, with different backer input, we would calibrate, what that game is, what the pitch is, what the table experience is, what's included. And each week during the campaign, I'm remembering this like I'm recalling like some traumatic memory right now. Like it's getting very, very vivid very quickly. But we did a weekly podcast while the campaign was running. It was a 39-day campaign. Did you know you could do it that long? Maybe not.
I've seen a 60. Some
60.
crazy person did, like, it was somewhere between 40 and 60. Maybe it was all the way 60, but I know it was like 40. And I was like, wow, you funded on day 4. You have a long way to go, buddy. But 39 is crazy.
It's 39. We had no idea what we were selling. So we would do a different episode each week with a different guest. So we had like Alex Roberts, we had Nathan D. Paletta on, we had Takuma Okada, we had Nell Raban. And they would also help us kind of calibrate our pitch. And so through that process, we came up with the game A Guide to Casting Phantoms in the Revolution, which is right over there. And that is a GM-less troop style game about revolutionaries in 1790s France summoning demons from their phantasmagoria magic lamps to destroy the aristocracy. And it's good.
Yes.
We reviewed it maybe a year ago to see like how to do a smaller, briefer second edition, and I was just stunned with like how good a job we did with this bizarre production method.
Yeah. No, it's great. So when you go listen to the Brain Trust, like those are the original episodes as they came out. And what's really interesting listening to it much later is, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I recognized a bunch of games you guys eventually made.
Yes.
After Casting Phantoms, it felt like that story that you hear about, like, all the best Pixar movies were all done in like one meeting, like on the back of a napkin. They had like 6 things, and it's just like, dude, I feel like you talked about a game that eventually became Torque in there. There was a bunch of stuff that Adam talked about that I know eventually became. There's probably like at least 3 or 4 more games that came out of the ideas from that, which was really cool to hear after those games existed. Where it's like, oh no, like that's where it came from. That's awesome.
One of those is Big Grave Fashion Fantasy, which you can go to biggrave.com for the Kickstarter that'll be happening this year. But that's one that I've just been continuously working on since that pitch. Then that was maybe 9. How long ago? It was a long time ago.
It was a while ago. You've been talking about that one for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will exist.
It will. I played it a lot, so someone else must play it at some point.
Yeah. But why, so take that back even one more step. Like you said you met Adam at this zine meetup or whatever. How did you get from that to running a Kickstarter that turned into the podcast?
Yeah, we exchanged stuff, and then Adam invited me on the Wish You Were Here zine quest while I was doing Black Mass for my zine quest on Zine Quest 1, which happened. Want to feel old? Zine Quest 1 happened 99 years ago. And they invited me on to collaborate on a couple of those games. And there was a bunch of like collab projects that happened there. Adam has always been really generous with their time and attention and mentorship. It's just a very cool thing that they do. I went to go visit Adam in between Game Hole, and like traveling home from Gamehole, and then Adam was like, "I sorry, I just need a second," and then took a call just mentoring like two artists that were working on like a T-shirt commission for Law Dispute. And I was like, "You just do this. Like this is just something that is a huge part of your life, and you're so good at it." So
Yeah.
yeah, there's this awesome like counter inspiration that we have on each other where we're and you can like feel it in the podcast for sure when we're like spinning out games, which is kind of the thing we do now, um, that we just kind of want to excite each other as much as possible with oblique takes on design ideas and stuff like that.
But I mean, that's what people should be doing, and that's where the space kind of used to be before. Like I struggle, I really in my own mind and on the show here refuse to call it the indie TTRPG space anymore. It's much more of the I call it the small market space.
Yeah.
Um because
Yeah.
it does we talked about this a little bit, and we're not going to dig deep into it right now because I've dig deep into it now, but like a lot of the space that we currently inhabit, especially the primary big indie TTRPG space on Blue Sky, is very product focused, not very like I don't know, DIY, innovative focused as it was, kind of more so in the past, maybe pre-COVID or just after. So it's awesome. Like that's and that's one thing that I've always loved about Adam and always loved about you too, is you guys never stopped making the weird freako shit, which is exactly the stuff that I loved and why we started doing the show. So
Yeah.
we need more of that.
It's I think a tricky part is that that spirit exists in like all art forms. Like that's going to come up. And when you do have a lot of Kickstarters making six figures plus on huge IPs, like I'm thinking of I heard this phrase, the triple I space for indies, but like, your magpies who are working on giant licensed products, I don't think you can they're even in the same weight class. But there are the sickos out there, and I'm thinking of groups like You Are Beheld, which has a Zine Quest project out right now, making very freako, sicko games. Designers who just continue to be on their shit, like Tim Hutchings, who is just like he'll never you can never make him stop. Okay, he's just gonna keep doing it. Jennifer Adcock, Aaron King, who's in the chat. They're out there, and I think a little bit of it could be like an optics problem, that there is not a way to you have to do lots of digging or just staying very close to the pulse of what's happening to find that stuff out. And the more moneyed organizations have a way of taking up a lot of air. And yeah, post OGL, I have no fucking idea what the deal is.
I'm just gonna. I've stated my opinion so many times on the show about that. I'm gonna let that one go. But we've talked about you and Adam working together a lot. But you work. You have your own thing. You are not World Champ Game Co. You are Good Luck Press. How did that come to be? And you do that with Seb Pines. Like, how did you guys get together and form Good Luck Press?
Yeah, we did a zine stream with Shell Khan, who awesome artist I've mentioned a couple times, but you can find all of their stuff on Portable City. Is currently working on the new edition of Swords Without Master by Unwritten Earths. Don't get mad at me, Epidiah and Nathan. I forget the name of the publisher. But we did a zine stream together, which just involved us talking about zines, maybe making a zine on the show, and then doing a show and tell at the end. And it was really fun. We did that at the like beginning of the pandemic. Additionally, I met Seb at a zine exchange as well. Though I meet all these really important people in my life. Here's the lesson you got to take away from today's episode. Go to a zine exchange, meet the most important people you'll ever meet, nurture the friendships.
I got to. I got to
Yeah.
get. I am in an awful part of the country, and I got to get to a better part eventually, and actually meet some people that have culture besides red hats and white pickup trucks. Yeah. But anyway, so zine meetup.
Yeah, we met there, and then we started collaborating on stuff, and mostly just like combining our shared interests of games and both looking for a way to fund our work and make our work. So Good Luck Press, I like to compare it to like a boutique repertory theater that you'd go to. You might not know what the movie is that's playing, but you know that it was curated and it's interesting and it's going to like be surprising in some fundamental way. And so if you go to goodluckpress.co right now, you'll kind of see here's everything playing right now at Good Luck Press. And uh, there's a lot of like inventive mechanics all over the place. There's a lot of challenging themes. Recently, Seb released We Shall Be Monsters, which is like a Mary Shelley's Frankenstein inspired solo game where you're designing the perfect partner, and in the process, you kind of destroy your own conception of yourself and them for trying to even create such a thing. It's just like devastating. You've got like my upcoming game Plasmodics, which is if you we got an advanced reader copy right here. Ooh,
Look at ooh
look at
look
it
at
pop
that.
on the
Look at
camera.
that. Look at
Ooh,
that. Ooh, let me turn up that saturation a little bit. You really got to
yeah,
see
I
this.
I certainly did. Um, yeah,
Boom. There we go. That's nice and bright. That's what it really looks like. Yeah.
yeah. Now that looks like RGB. I guess I'm seeing an
Mm.
RGB, which is great. But anyway, that's my kind of love letter to first edition Gamma World. And it's as if you put it in the microwave for 90 minutes and then huffed on the fumes of whatever's left. Are you about to pull out a first edition of Gamma World right now?
Why would I have that?
Oh
Why would I
my
have a first
God.
edition of Gamma World?
Oh, I don't even have one. It's going to be my gift to myself when it comes out. That looks so good. Wow.
Not bad. Yeah, I spent too much money on it. Um,
It looks
but it's there.
minty. That looks
I also
minty.
have a Boot Hill and
Hey, we got
what
to
else do I
play
got
Boot
over
Hill.
here? Oh, I want to really bad, especially because I kind of
Nice.
uh
I got to meet Mr. Traveler Mark Miller at GameHoleCon. That was my highlight.
I want to reach out and be like, come on the show really bad. We've been meaning to do like a
He's so
three-part
cool.
Traveler episode for so long. But yeah, I made a game that is like indirectly kind of like a great grandchild of Boot Hill at this point. So like
Nice.
I really want to play it.
Yes,
Um
you're remind me the name. I have a copy.
Death Cut in Stone. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Um but yeah, so I got to play Boot Hill too. I mean, I got all these fucking things here still sitting in plastic, so it protects them, and then I never get to play with them. But where we tangented hard.
Oh,
Where did we
Good Luck
tangent
Press
from?
vibes.
Gamma
Yeah.
World, Plasmodics. There we go.
Plasmodics.
We brought it back.
But yeah, Seb and I we're going on our 5th year of Good Luck Press. So we've been doing it since 2021 and still going strong. We are full-time game designers, publishers, and everyone who does such a thing knows that most of our day is not doing game design, but we try our best to make as much art as possible.
Yeah, and you also do a lot of editing. We talked about the Neopets thing a bit. How do you, as an editor and a game designer, obviously that's going to cross a lot, but how do you kind of do both, especially working with somebody else? Do you always have the editor hat on? Do you always have the design hat on? Like, do you find yourself editing your own design a bunch, or like does it affect the way that you design? Like, how does that work, doing both kind of as much as you do?
Yeah. So I come from like a technical publishing background. I was like in tech editing for like 5 years before doing it for RPGs. And I find that like when people hire me, they kind of want the mechanically, is this exciting? What's going on here? Is this connected to like a stream of game design? And I'd like to think because I am really widely played, like I play lots of different types of things, I can recognize what the authors are going for and bring in my perspective. So like when I'm editing, you can see in the Neopets open doc. I guess we should make up a name for who these editors are. We're unwelcomed guest editors. that's that's who we are.
There you
But
go.
I'm kind of narrating what I'm thinking, my thought process as I'm moving through the manuscript, trying to keep like the author's goals in mind and you know, being more true to like what their vision is, or as opposed to my personal taste. Obviously, I cannot disconnect my personal taste from something. So if something comes up that I think is either particularly like resonant and cool, I'll be like, okay, here's how you double down and like make this a feature, a signature mechanic of your game, or like, hey, I'm not sure you should be able to waterboard people in the Neopets TTRPG. I don't know if that's 100% necessary.
I mean, at this point, why not? You know what
Why
I
not?
mean?
Yeah,
Why
why not?
not?
Kill
Isn't
these
the
fucking
first
guys.
adventure like having a battle in the woods or something? And I'm like, what the fuck
Yeah,
is
if someone's
happening?
drunk too. That's anyway.
Some of these people honestly need to be taken out and beaten at this point. Why are we like this? Why are we like this?
I would have let it, you know, lie if I didn't see that at its core there was some like labor dispute issue where someone was not
Oh,
getting paid. So I'm like, somebody call.
you gotta
Yeah.
hop in. I
Yeah.
saw that like this work has also not been paid or whatever, and it's a whole
Yes.
thing. This I'm just but like at the end of the day, realistically, when you see that Neopets is gonna be running on 5e, like it was always gonna be a train wreck. Like
Yeah.
and I'm so
There's
happy
no. Yeah.
it is such a like we all get to watch it. You know what I mean? Like it is widely publicized train. It's not a quiet train wreck. It is for all of us to see, and I'm very happy at the very least that we
Yeah.
get
You,
to
you
all see
can't
that
look away.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's man, man, why are we like this? But we've
Through my editing, I've gotten to work with some extremely cool artists and some amazing games that I'm super proud of, and people all over the world. So it's a very like beautiful and connecting part of my job that I'm really happy with.
That's awesome. And like I said, do you? So like I found myself having a problem on the show that I had to not on the show, but kind of because of the show because we do critique review of stuff. You know, we used to have 3 episodes where we went page by page through the books, and I still miss those and love those. But when people would send me stuff, my brain would automatically click into like kind of that where like my brain would bring up the metrics that we go and start going through it.
Yeah.
So I had to train myself to be like, what kind of feedback would you like to hear on this before I said anything?
That was a
and if
huge
they're
thing
like,
I had to learn to do in playtesting. Is like literally
yeah.
that question. So like that's an incredible encapsulation of like some growth that I had to go through too.
So that's what I meant by like being an editor and a designer and stuff. Like when someone does come to you with something, do you find yourself being like, hey, like just accept it and say thanks, I'll take a peek, or like is that a battle you have, or have you kind of have absorbed that in?
I think this is best answered in talking about a playtest I played in one time at Metatopia, where it was a great group. It was an interesting game. It was like a hex crawl inspired thing. And during the feedback portion, there was some stuff that just didn't click with my understanding of hex crawls. And I asked in the feedback phase of like, have you played one before? And the designer was like, not yet. Not yet. I haven't. I was like, I don't have any feedback then. Nothing I could say could help, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you always want to make sure, you know, the the feedback that you need to express is why we have group chats, and the feedback that's like the socially responsible, safe, I don't know, like what's acceptable as a form of feedback. It's always good to like hear a designer's goals. What are you trying to do? And then evaluating on their own stuff. So what I do in playtests and what I do in edits is just ask up front, what do you want this to do? How's it going to happen? I'm actually gearing up to do like a book cover review stream, like a crit stream on Monday.
Yeah.
And I made sure that like I only want to talk about work in progress, because evaluating something that's out is like it's successful. Like it's already out. You know what? That why would I other than a thumbs up, like what really could you be asking for that?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just
Yeah.
my
And
view
it's
on
not
like
like your view on like,
on what the goal of critique is. Like I don't want to just wreck somebody for the pleasure of wrecking them.
yeah. I mean, that we that's what we try to do here on the show too. Like we very rarely have done in like 300 episodes. I can think of maybe 3 or 4 games we reviewed that we just didn't like. And most of the time it's because we realized after we had already like got most of the way through that we didn't like them, and we decided to do them anyway because some of them, and I won't name them, we should have a counter for the one specifically. But it's because we were like, we love so many of these games that are hacks. Let's look at the original system. And then just did not really vibe with the original system, but wanted to kind of understand why. So we did that. But like we have actively been like, no, we won't review this because we just don't like it. There's no reason to be mean on the internet. I'll be critical, I'll be blunt, I'll be very honest, but I'm never going to just be mean.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what? Yeah, so it's like, why?
Yeah, and then when you like, it's important to mark when you have those reactions that are like, I severely don't like this, and here's why. That's for the group chat. That's like for your cohort. Finding like groups of like-minded artists where you don't have to have everything set in stone on Blue Sky or whatever it is. It's very good to be able to vent, and it's very necessary.
Yeah, just the number of times I've like thought about writing a message and it's just like, nope, that's a DM. That is a DM to one of these 3 people who will understand and be just as mad as me, and then we can get out of our system and move on.
Yes.
Yep, that is. If I did not have those 1 or 2 Discord friends that I know feels how I feel, it would be a lot different. I'm safer on Blue Sky for those people, so I appreciate you. But it is what it is. Critique, editing, I mean, there's a lot of discussion about editing, critique, review, what should be, what shouldn't be. It is what it is, I guess, at this point. I mean, there's obviously a very big difference between the editing space and like the critique and review space. I was going to say one's necessary. They're both necessary for like good art, right? But we're not going to dig too deep into that one. So one thing we've talked about multiple times now is Plasmodics. This is the one that is, I mean, I have a copy, so it exists. It's cooking. Everyone else is going to get their copy. I'll get another copy here soon.
Yeah. So what's the deal with that? Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about Plasmodics. I got a pretty picture of it now over here on the screen. So what is Plasmodics? What's going on with Plasmodics, and when are we going to get all the plasmoids and whatnot?
When are we getting the plasmoids? Well, they've been accumulating in your bloodstream this whole time. So that's the deal. Right. So this is a sci-fi post-apocalyptic adventure game where you play the Plasmodics. These are the mutant freaks that are in the weird future. The things you got to know about the Plasmodics is that they're weird in the body with mutations, and they're weird in the personality with nuances. And so together, you randomly roll up this collection, this miserable collection of powers and abilities and quirks, and you navigate your character through the trials and tribulations of the destroyed and smithereened world. So Plasmodics is like a system inspired by Into the Odd and Cybermetal, using mechanics from both. I think most notably is like taking a lot of the Cybermetal stuff here. You can see this on the screen right now, but I think both of them super influential and important. And you have mechanics like Fallout, which is a cybermetal mechanic about the things you do affect the world around you. So every roll incurs some fallout. And I use Into the or odd like dice mechanics to kind of make it even more furious and messy and goopy and weird. Anyone familiar with Gamma World will know about things like the artifact identification table, cryptic alliances, things like that. And I kind of took the feeling of playing Gamma World First Edition very closely to the rules at the beginning of the pandemic with a group of people in the Brain Trust Discord, and kind of getting the game experience out of that and how inventive and interesting it was, and making a system that more quickly accesses that feeling than Gamma World, which, if you have any familiarity, there's like 20 matrices tables you have to use for determining like radiation and things like this. So uh there's an adventure in the back of the book. I'm working on the adventure collection right now, which is why we're delayed. I am sending the final version to the editor to work on in a few weeks. So we're like reaching the home stretch. I just wanted to make sure that when this came out, there was like a lot of adventure content for people to use, an experiment and both a challenge to myself for writing that. We've got art by Zach Hazard Vopin, artist behind Liminal Horror and some other incredible games, including another Bug Hunt, did the cover for that, a couple other Mothership things, and worked on portraits for mutants that you can see about halfway through the book in here. And additionally, I did the layout. We've got editing by Seb Pines here. There's editing by Seda, who's an incredible editor for the Adventure Collection. Yeah, here you go on the screen. We got some freaking mutants. So the characters end up becoming this constellation of unique powers, mutations, nuances, and they all become like jokes or secrets or surprises to reveal and play. And so it makes for like a compelling, furious, strange, very human level of gameplay whenever I get to play this game.
I mean, it's wonderful. How close is this going to be to the one that I actually get? Like, I know you said you're working on the Adventure Collection. Is the primary book like done at this point, and that's what I'm physically holding?
Yeah, that's that.
That's awesome. So I will get two. I will send Hunter one if he doesn't have one.
Perfect.
But how?
Yeah, so I can talk about what the Adventure Collection is.
Please do. Useful. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Plasmodics is the system, and Plasmods are like the worlds and stuff. So I describe it as like it is a cartridge you plug in, or like a modular synthesizer you're like connecting to the rules. And so the one that comes in the core book is called King Tide, and that is a sun bleached and flooded world that tidal wave comes through once every few days or once every hour, just like power washing the world over and over again. And so the first time it was a disaster, the fifth time it was like a marvel, and like the thousandth time we began to live with it. We are figuring out what this world is like and how to live in it. So it's got like climate disaster acceptance and how do we move on after things like that. And so the adventure collection is called Vermiculture, which takes place in the world of King Tide, but you can put it anywhere. And the assumption there is that 500 years ago, all of the billionaires of our current world created bunkers to live in. And each one of their bunkers not only were built to protect them, but it was also to protect their how do you say their outlook on the world. So to kind of freeze dry and preserve what these people think the ideal version of humanity should be. And so when the time is right, they can release their ideology on the world and themselves. You know, they've been surviving with like either cryosleep or geriatric surgeries or things like this. The time was never right. They have been fermenting in their little bunkers, and they are cracking open, and you play the people shucking the bunkers open and finding the culturites. They're called cultures. Finding the culturites, dealing with whatever's inside, and discovering like this intrigue mystery that's going on of where the like mother culture is.
Wow. You're And this is why we're fans of you and Adam and everything that you guys do. Like this is, first of all, I mean, and people have said it before, the art is great. The graphic design throughout this entire book, much like how beautiful Torque was, is absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
But the substance of everything you're talking, as soon as you said billionaires create, I was like, wait. Oh nope, it's just ways to protect themselves. Like that's wonderful. And just the idea, it's just like, okay, now when the wave comes through, it's just Tuesday, is such a, I don't know, kind of condemnation on like our current like situation right now. It's just like, oh, like we had yet another record breaking storm and a bunch of people died in a fire that like raged across 3 states. And on to the next news cycle is really really prescient, I would say, which is cool, but also like horrifying.
It's like I like the feeling, the vibe that you get from like the places in Plasmodics, or at least I hope, is that like we're gonna keep on just like human beings were the same way that we are now 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years in the future, there's going to be sarcastic people, there's going to be annoying people, there's going to be cool people, right? We're going to act the same way, and the thing that's going to change are our present circumstances. And so with this like cli-fi stuff, I like to push, and Torque was a bit like this. I like to push as far as it can go and see what kind of not post-apocalyptic pessimism we have, but like how we will live after the human era has ended. And in doing like research for this, especially about like bunker dudes and preppers, there's this understanding for preppers that it's 3 days until cannibalism. Like when the thing happens, whatever it is, it's 3 days before we are tearing each other apart. When in reality, we see in disaster zones all the time, even in places where you think this, whatever your preconceived notions are, that people come together, they collaborate, and they work to make life better and easier. And you can find that with like blackouts or like huge snowstorms happening. Like this just happens on Earth. And so the kind of perspective of Plasmodics, or I hope that people see, is that it's a lot of kind of shaking off all these ideas we had about what the future should be or what the end of the world should be as the people who are inhabiting that future, and played for laughs, played seriously, all that stuff.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's really true, and it's really interesting what you said. Like everyone expects the worst at all times, and unless you're 10 people up on the top of a mountain, with 8 feet of snow around you for days, right, usually it doesn't get to cannibalism. Like a lot of bad things happen, and you have to get pretty far to get to cannibalism. But I mean, I live in California, and in certain places I've lived, they'll straight up say, like, if this road gets like hit by the earthquake, there's nothing coming to you. You got 10 days before anyone will be able to get you. You're not gonna, like, just because the 101 goes down, you're not gonna suddenly, like, half a week later be eating your neighbors. Like, that's not how it works.
You're not figuring out like your neighbor's weak spot.
Yeah. The worst of the worst will do the worst, because that does happen in natural disasters. I know a lot of crazy shit happened in Louisiana after Katrina and everything. But at the end of the day, most people are at least not the worst people ever. Not that they're all great people, but most of them aren't the worst ever. And at the end of the day, people, like, society exists, and people want to hit an equilibrium and at least be, like, okay. And people will strive to be just okay together if they can all be okay. So and that's
it's a lucrative business to sell this idea that the future will not be okay, that and these people, there's a book I read called, I think it's called Bunker or Sheltered or something like that. I'll have to dig it up, but they call these people dread merchants. They sell this feeling that we are on a knife's edge, and you can prepare right now, and you can prepare. There's a right way to get ready for the future, which will be horrible.
Definitely a right, if you know what I'm saying, idea.
Hey.
But listen, fear merchants are the way to accrue and maintain power. So it's not that that's that far off, right?
In vermiculture, we've got some of your favorite billionaires represented, whether they are tech billionaires or lifestyle wellness gurus, or we've got a couple. And yeah, this adventure that you're looking through right now, the Cruciform, kind of is inspired by the autonomous robots from Boston Dynamics and the things they're meant for and the things they're used for and the things that the ideas that they sell. So there's a big confrontation, like a chuggy startup office place.
Chuggy startup
chuggy.
office place. You are young enough to use the term chuggy. I'm old enough to be offended by it.
But it is, the designers think it's chuggy. Like that's how they made it.
Yeah. That's funny. It's been so long since I heard an actual person say that, not just someone on Instagram. That's funny. So you said that specifically you want to make the vermiculture zine as a challenge to yourself. You know, we talked a lot about the show. We talked a lot with like Adam and stuff about it on the show too, where people will make a game and move on. Where I love games and I love playing games and I love mechanics and I love systems, but a lot of people like finding a system and playing with that system kind of like as their thing. Not just, 5e, but a lot of them. And people wanting to support or people needing to support their systems more. Was that any of the thought process behind like why you're so adamant to get the adventure out? Or why are you so adamant that you said as a challenge to yourself that you want to have that done before?
Yeah, it's a thing that I feel like indies hear a lot, which is you should support your game. Don't just release it and put it down. So I wanted to have playable content for Plasmodics. Another goal was let's learn how to design adventures and let's get like real feedback. Let's use real techniques and let's test the fuck out of them. For the case of the adventure in the back of the book specifically, like I've ran it so many times, but adventure writing is 100% has nothing to do with game design in a system standpoint. It is like such a different skill set. It is extremely fun, very rewarding, very difficult. And I got into this seesaw situation where I would figure out how to write it and then test it and then get to the end of it and then find out that like I've learned something, so now I have to go back here and improve it. And then this like gradual increasing and increasing of quality and my own perception of how I think it works and how it should work, and my skills basically improving in real time. And so part of the delay is like I simply just got better at it at a rate where I didn't like what I wrote a month ago. So that kept on happening. And adventures rock. They're great. They're super useful. I used to be like an improv only GM. And the more burned out and busy I've gotten, the more I've used adventures. And the more I am in awe of like how they work, how people write them, and what they can do at the table.
Yeah, adventures are interesting. I think a lot of people have opinions in the space about adventures. I think we need more good adventures. I personally am not like, I think adventures are a good tool to have. In a lot of the systems that I run, I'm kind of more of the improv like you. I really love adventures that are just give me the people and the places and will tell the story, my first game was 5e and I read a lot of adventures that were just novels with dice rolls. And I think a lot of my thought about adventures was kind of a like flipping that 180, like just trying to go run in the opposite direction of that. But I think adventures, especially depending on the system you're in, like they're tools to use, and depending on what you're using them for and how much information they're giving. They're great, and we should have more adventures in the space. You know, people have opinions and they put them online about how adventures should be, and I think if we all meet somewhere in the middle, we'd all be better for it. Uh, but I'm excited to get to that. Are you? Do you think all of your stuff kind of moving forward, you're going to kind of try to lean more into design plus adventure, or do you think you're going to be more of a systems person kind of forever?
Yeah, great question. I think my stated goal in making RPGs is to make one of each game. It's kind of part of the project. And part of that, like, what does a game include conception? I have really tied, like, what does the first session of gameplay look like for this game I'm making? What do I want the first session to be? And I think the more I take that seriously and the more I want to do experience design, like a little bit broader than just adventure design or game design, what kind of experiences do I want people to have at the table? Some games just feel like they need this support setting, NPC, situation, scenario content. And to like harken back to like, I used to be an improv only GM. I'm still improving the same amount when running adventures. I just have to invent less crucial idea chunks. And so it frees up a little bit of processing power so I can inhabit a character better or present a situation or like manicure the adventure to have the pieces that I want coming to the forefront and compose or arrange the composition from a musical standpoint. But for Big Grave, I want to have like locations and NPCs you can deal with. I don't know if it needs the exact kind of room by room description that something like Plasmodics needs, but I think to answer your question, I'm going to tune it to whatever the design has in mind. Some games it will never come up, and some games it'll be like, show me the dungeon, straight up show me what's underground here.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I think it really depends on what you're doing. There are games that are frameworks and there's games that are experiences. And, you know, I wish more people in the space kind of realize that games are genres, and it's
Yeah.
okay to not like metal, and it's okay to not like jazz, and it's okay to like pop, and it's okay to like this other thing. But if all you do is listen to pop, it's really weird to get all butthurt about metal. You know what I mean? Um,
They have nothing to
so
do with each other. Like
right, so
they're
it's just
just living.
like when all you do is play story games and then but talk shit on the OSR, like you, I don't know. There's and vice versa, obviously, very much vice versa. But you know,
Yeah,
it
I
really
mean,
depends on the system. Yeah,
likewise, hearing some OSR designers talk about what they think story games encapsulate, straight up
yeah,
spooky, same
yeah.
way that hearing like pure story gamers talk about what their impression of the OSR is, it is like, I don't, it just does, it's not connected to my experience of playing both of
Yeah.
those things. Not to say that
It's
those experiences didn't happen, but
that's the thing. That's, I mean, and it's interesting. So, and like I said, system by system, you know, I like adventures, but I think I'd lean more in the systems I play into ones that are more frameworks,
mhm.
that kind of like give you tools and then you add all that stuff on, versus games that are more like experiences where you need the adventure, with not necessarily need it, but the adventure is part of the experience, and
Yeah.
having that is really important. So there's never going to be like a this is how it works, this is the right way to do a thing. It really depends on the system, depends on the genre, it depends on like everything that you're doing. So like you said, it's really interesting to hear Plasmodics needs more than what your next game could have. So as long as you're supporting it with what it needs versus being like I have to have this for it no matter what, and like shoehorning, I think that's, you know, that's incredibly important. So
Yeah, and I want to have Vermiculture out with the core book, so it's like I can step back from it, understanding like I made a complete experience here. I can make more if I want, if it proves that like there's a want for it and a need for it. But yeah, I'm excited to have it out there. I'm also making like a pamphlet adventure called Whale Food. That is the players are swallowed by a whale and have to collect the psychedelic ambergris inside before they get out. And then, like inspired by something Adam does all the time, there's like an adventure designer notes zine called Tetrapod that will come out as well with it. So
nice.
classic one book becomes four books situation.
Classic. What? So, I mean, I don't want to put like a, like obviously we're not gonna have like a hard deadline on this, but how are you feeling about how far along you are? When can we expect it, or should we just, just be patient and then you'll get it when you get it?
Oh, I just started a new ADHD medication, so hoping a lot sooner than I thought about a month ago. But
What, they
that's
get you
to
on
say,
Vyvanse now, or what?
they got me on Wellbutrin. They're calling it Willbutrin at this point.
Gotcha.
That's
Will Butrin. There you go.
uh, but that's to say, I was so burned out at the end of last year. When you're running a Kickstarter and you are late, although you're communicating all your deadlines, it is a constant companion. It's like a sword hanging over your head. It's so cool. It's really good
Yeah.
for you. Um, so that's to say, I got super burned out at the end of last year. Seb and I took some significant time off in December to like disconnect from games, to like recharge for what's going to be a rocking and rolling 2026. I think if everything goes amazingly, it's going to be like Q1, Q2 this year.
Thick.
Yeah.
I mean, even end of Q. I mean, that's not. We're almost at the end of Q1 now, so that means
Come
not
on,
very
don't.
long. Hey, but then you got to get it all printed. Then it has to get distributed. Then
Yeah.
you got to talk to 100 people that don't have their credit card information correct, and all the people that change their addresses, and all
You're
of
getting me
the.
excited. That's gonna be
Hey,
great.
one reason I'll never run a fucking Kickstarter. But I love that all of you guys do, and I can back them. I'm pushing
Yeah.
towards 800 now. I'm getting there.
Whoa.
Yeah. But Aaron, the super backer of Damocles is something that has to end up on air. That is incredible. Aaron motherfucking King. But and you said, I mean, that's when Plasmodics is coming out, and then you've been working on your next game for years and years and years.
Yeah,
Do you
so-
have a time frame for that?
I want to kickstart it by August.
Okay.
That would be sick. My goal, I won't kickstart it until it's done because I've been in a cycle that, like, I think many creators can identify with, which is asking money for something and then needing to finish it after you've received the money for it, instead of like getting as far as you can and finishing something and then starting this crowdfunding process. It sounds so obvious. Thank you, everybody. The solution sounds really easy, but when with the financial realities and how development works and how I've learned that my own development works, it's just not. It's not sustainable for me anymore. I can't be burned out this way. So I'm going to do everything I can to finish it. I've got a couple other games in the hopper that I'm excited to put out, including one I'm working on with Josh Hiddy called Voronoi Tessellation, which is a mega structure exploration game inspired by
Blame or
like exactly. Yeah. It's a blame game. And Ghost in the Shell and other like super far futuristic abstract landscapes and stuff like that. So hoping there's some of that this year as well.
That's sick. Blame is incredible. Like, hope you got some big mega structure art in there because that's really, gonna pull it in. That's sick.
We have art from a speculative architect who works at Fullerton, actually, speaking of California. Brian Cantley. His shit is so cool. So
This is the
that.
kind of shit people bring in, people that are outside the space to do cool stuff or inside the space. That's the way to fucking do cool shit.
Yeah, I got to explain to him over the course of like 20 emails what RPGs even were. So that's.
You got to take those 20 emails and put it in a blog post and just be like, this is how I taught someone how to. Yeah.
This is how Brian knows now. But yeah, and editing wise, I'm working on like some super exciting projects coming up, including Realis, which is going to be so sick. Very excited to get into that one. And otherwise, I'll be at PAX U in November now.
December. It's only every couple of years is it in November because of something with like
December this time.
booking. Yeah, it's like, I think it's like December. It's like the first week of December. It's like the 4th or something like that. Which honestly, it sucked because of Thanksgiving and the marathon. But man, it was not nearly as fucking cold. The one 2 years ago, I remembered why I don't fucking live in Pennsylvania anymore. Uh,
Yeah.
but because I used to live outside of Philadelphia. And again, I'm reminded every time I go to PAX why I don't live there anymore.
I
But
just moved here this year or last year.
yeah, hey, it's a lot different than when I was there, which is cool. It is cooler. It is maybe my. I'm trying to be less in the past about how I feel about Philadelphia. But
It's okay.
you live in Philadelphia now? Oh yeah, you
No,
moved.
I live in Pittsburgh, but
Same shit. That's right. Like, I mean, 4 hour drive, but you know, the other
Just a
little
couple
spot of
mountains.
blue in Pennsylvania, is it gets you there. It's a quick drive to PAX though. That must be nice.
Yeah, I got to get there. I just basically raced Tyler Crumrine home. That's how we did it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, so lots of stuff in the works, lots of stuff coming up. I mean, obviously, you know, go grab everything from Good Luck Press. And where can people find all of these things that we've been talking about, your future stuff, and where can people bug you about Plasmodics?
Yeah, you can bug me on the comments of the Neopets open public beta. But in reality, I'm at Will Jobst on Blue Sky. You can also find me at goodluckpress.co. We've got a mailing list link there. You'll hear about everything if you sign up there. We've got some really cool stuff planned this year for Good Luck Press, so sign the fuck up. Okay, that's where
Yeah.
you want to be. Yeah, and join me on my quest to make one of every game. Hopefully, I'll make one that you wanted me to make at some point. So let's do it.
Well, I mean, you already made Torque, so I'm good.
Hey!
Last quick question. What kind of game is this? What genre have you made this one? What are you calling it?
Yeah, I guess it's like an NSR game, but that's not enough really for what it is. I guess it's like a mutant adventure game. Could be the
There you go.
closest.
Because I was going to say, if you're going to make one of every game, I'd love to see the list of every game
Yeah.
that exists, so you can tell me which ones. But yeah, this has been Will Yelps. Thank you so much, Will. I can't believe it's been so long. Hopefully, it's not this long before you come on again. We'd love to have you back. Got to play some games. Got to run some games. Got to talk about more games in the future. So seriously, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad we got to coordinate our outfits for the show.
Boom, boom. Look at that. Yeah.
Boom.
We talked before about all this while we were doing the audio difficulties. But yeah, once again, thank you. And thank you everyone in chat. And thank you everyone that listens. You know, go back all of Will's stuff and we will see you all later. Bye.